Hello, sir.
Hello.
As you mentioned in your manifesto that in the coming government you will replace the Niti Aayog with Planning Commission. So, sir, what are the drawbacks that you saw in Niti Aayog that you are willing to replace it?
The difference between the Niti Aayog and the Planning Commission is that the Niti Aayog gets into implementation of policies. They talk about how some projects should be carried out. The Planning Commission plans India's strategy. The Planning Commission was a strategic institution. It didn't do things at the project level, it did things at the national level. And so that's the difference between Niti Aayog and the Planning Commission. We believe that India needs an institution that strategically thinks about what needs to be done at the global level, not at the regional level or the local level. So that would include, for example, how should Indian healthcare interact with the rest of the world? How should the healthcare industry be developed? How should the civil aviation sector be developed? These are strategic questions. And the power of the Planning Commission was that it was strategic. It thought about strategy, not about tactics. Niti Aayog thinks about tactics. Tactics can be done at the state level. Tactics can be done at a much lower level. Strategy needs to be done at the national level. That is why the nature of the institution needs to be changed. We want a strategic institution that allows us to solve problems at large scales. That's why we are going back to the Planning Commission model.
One more question.
Yeah.
Sir, in the last Planning Commission, there were no non-permanent members.
Sorry?
And in the last Planning Commission, there were no non-permanent members. All were the permanent members. So in the Niti Aayog, there were 2 non-permanent members from science and research field. So in the coming Planning Commission, will you add some non-permanent members?
That's not a problem. I mean, we can look at how the Planning Commission is designed. We can look at what type of people are in it. That's not a problem at all. We're flexible on that. But what we're interested in is a strategic institution, not a tactical institution. And that's the real key. You know, the Green Revolution, Telecom Revolution, White Revolution, these are strategic moves. Bangalore was a strategic move. It was not a tactical move. India needs 2 or 3 big strategic moves right now because we need to compete with China. So, Planning Commission is key to strategic thinking.
Thank you, Aditya. Rahul, there is a next question from Ishwari, Zui, Mohini, Jay and Utkarsh. They are all from BYDU DCH Pune. Ishwari, Zui, Mohini, Mohit, Jay and Utkarsh. Okay. तुमच्यापैकी कोणी एक जण विचारा. तुमच्यापैकी one of you and one question only. चालू आहे.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So my question to you is, what are your views about the recent attack, the airstrike which took place, and who do you think should take the credit for it?
I think the Air Force should take the credit for it. Air Force has done it. Air Force has done it. Air Force should take credit for it. And I think it's important that people know that they can't mess around with India. It's important that people understand that there is a cost. It's important that they understand that there is a cost to messing about with India. So overall, I think I'm for the airstrikes. But what I'm against is the politicization of the airstrikes. That's what I'm against. You wouldn't have heard me in any of my speeches sitting there taking credit for the airstrike. I know where credit is due. Credit is due to the Air Force, to the pilots. And I don't want to make it a political issue. I feel uncomfortable, frankly, when the Prime Minister politicizes these type of things. But that's a choice. I don't do it, he does it. That's his choice.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. I'd like to ask Shraddha Mishra. Shraddha Mishra, are you in the audience? Can we please?
You have a question?
Shraddha, wherever you are, can you raise your hand, please?
Yeah.
And then okay. Shraddha is on our right, Rahul. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So my question is, the students which go for education, higher education to abroad, what do you think how our Indian education system will help them for further education? Like, because our education system emphasizes more on theory rather than practical knowledge.
Well done, Shraddha.
You know the earlier question which I answered about underemployment. The basic problem is that our education system, and not just our education system, our business system, works without taking into account skill. What you're calling practical knowledge is skill. What you saw on the stage, what you saw those youngsters doing on the stage, that's skill. In our system, in our education system, in our business system, even in our political system, skill has to become the key. And frankly, if you look at the education system in the United States, they emphasize skill much more effectively than we do. I've studied in both the systems. So I've seen both the systems. What is very great about India is our students and their capabilities. They are absolutely the most brilliant students in the world. So, frankly, the Indian education system has a reputation, not because of what it does, but because of what you do. You're actually the asset. You're actually the strength. So when people say IIT is a great institution, what they're actually saying is that the students of India are very, very good. But if the institutions, if the education system could add to the power of the students, to the effectiveness of students, it would be truly transformational. In our system, we don't appreciate questions. In our system, the teacher says and the student listens. You're nodding your head, right? I'm here. I've come here. There's 7,000 students here. You're asking me whatever question you want. Some questions might make me uncomfortable. Some questions I might like. But I'm answering them. I've got the guts to stand here and say, listen, ask me whatever you want. Some of you might ask me questions that make me uncomfortable. No problem. I'll deal with it. Why is the Prime Minister not standing here? Why is the Prime Minister not standing in these type of functions, open functions, where anybody, she's looking at me saying she wants to ask a question, and anybody can ask a question. It's an attitude. It's an attitude that I know everything, nobody else knows anything. And that's the problem. And it's not only the Prime Minister. It's at every level. We don't appreciate questions. But we should, because you only get answers when you ask questions. So we have to move from a memorization-centric system to a question-answer system, where the teacher is made to feel uncomfortable, where the teacher has to go home and say, oh my God, I got into trouble, I need to study again. Because facts change. I mean, I was shocked. One day my nephew was doing his geography lesson and I went and sat down. What they were teaching in that book was what I had learned 20 years ago. The same thing. Hadn't changed at all. Now, it can't be that geography, we haven't analyzed things differently. Today we have satellite pictures. Today we have complete transformation. But why is the syllabus the same? Means that you're stuck because you're not asking the relevant questions. So for you, my message is ask questions, disturb people, disturb me, make me uncomfortable. Because I'm a political leader, I need to be made uncomfortable. I need to be uncomfortable, so I say, I went to that student interaction, they asked me that question, I need to figure out the answer. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody. Anywhere. So it is our political leaders have to put themselves in a place where they're uncomfortable. They have to look for answers. I don't come here with the idea that I can answer every one of your questions. No. But I can certainly go back and say, well, that was an interesting question. I need to go and get the answer. So that's the process that we have to start up. But I want you to realize that in all this education system, you're the asset. You're the asset. The education system is not the asset. The IIT is not the asset. You're the asset. The IIT is only an asset because of you. And that's why we need to treat you with respect. Somebody said in the beginning, I have come here and given my valuable time. Nonsense. You have come here and given your valuable time. Woo! Why is your time less valuable than my time? It's not. So that's a wrong approach. We are all giving our time. And we are all giving our time to have a conversation, and everybody's time in this room is valuable as mine. So it's an attitude thing.